On November 15th, 2025, out in the suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona, a video started spreading like wildfire on the X platform and left thousands of people stunned. A pure white light, cold as ice but bright as the morning star, suddenly flared up into the shape of a phoenix right in the middle of the night sky. No sound, no sign of a plane or a flare, just a glowing being hanging there, like an invisible door had cracked open and let something slip through that doesn't belong to this world. Witnesses said that moment felt like someone way up high was staring straight down at mankind. From that weird second on, strange things started happening, one after another. Blue beams swept across the sky over New Mexico, along with 3 weird fireballs seen from a commercial flight. An unknown sea creature that science has never recorded washed up on a Florida beach. 2 blazing rips tore open the Texas sky, and a city in the clouds showed up for people in Colorado to see. Over in Europe, a figure dressed in white was floating in midair above Berlin, and a few days later, the exact same thing happened here in the States. All of it in the same month. All of it is impossible to explain. And the part that'll give you chills: 5 of the 7 signs happened right on American soil, the country people still call one nation under God. Something is moving behind the sky, some kind of preparation, a warning, or maybe a sign that he's a lot closer than we think. If you really want to know what's going on, don't look away. And if you want to understand why millions of believers are convinced the Lord is very near, watch this video all the way to the end, because right now, we're going to go through all 7 signs that are shaking the whole world. First sign: a phoenix wing from heaven, flapping across the night sky over the Mesa suburbs. On the night of November 15th, 2025, something strange lit up the sky over the outskirts of Mesa, Arizona, so beautiful that nobody could look away. Out of nowhere, a pure white light appeared, shining like a pearl, just hanging in the air. Then it spread out into the huge shape of a phoenix wing. The light danced and flashed from that wing, falling like thousands of tiny shooting stars straight down from heaven. Folks who watched the 4K videos later said it felt like the air itself was shaking, like the whole sky was taking a deep breath. This wasn't a storm, wasn't planes, wasn't some laser show. This was something that didn't follow any rules we know. Everybody who saw it just stopped and stared. That phoenix wing wasn't only light. It felt like it carried a message, a sign nobody had ever seen before, showing us a piece of something far greater than we've ever laid eyes on. Looking at that wing from above, you could almost feel something holy right there. It brought to mind Isaiah 60, verses 1 through 3. Arise, shine, for your light has come. That pure, clean light felt like the Son of Righteousness spoken of in Malachi 4, verse 2, shining down on people caught up in everyday life. The wing moved slow and majestic, and it made you wonder, could this be a picture of Jesus coming back, appearing right here on earth? Those little bits of light kept falling like pieces of heaven itself, drifting down onto gardens, rooftops, and quiet streets. Revelation 4, verses 1 and 2, talks about a door opening in heaven, and now it felt like that door was cracking open right in front of us. People in Mesa stood staring up at the night sky, eyes wide, hardly believing what they were seeing. A gate of heaven has cracked open right over American soil. The nation that was once dedicated to the Lord is now the first to be visited by Him. Second sign: strange green fireballs in the sky over New Mexico. On the night of the 12th of November 2025, up in the sky over New Mexico, a regular commercial flight from Los Angeles to Dallas suddenly turned into the scene of something unbelievable. Passengers were filming in a panic when a blinding green light popped up right outside the windows, so bright the phone cameras almost went completely white. Then, not just 1, but 3 green fireballs lit up, flying in perfect circles around the plane like guardian angels watching over everyone on board. That light wasn't just weird. It carried a kind of power that made everybody go quiet and stare out the windows. The fireballs kept spinning, flashing in rhythm, like they were guarding some holy secret. It made everyone who saw it wonder, is this a message from heaven or the actual presence of angels? When you look close, it brings to mind the Bible verse, Zechariah 2:5. For I, saith the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. It felt like God himself was putting up an invisible wall of protection between us and whatever darkness is out there. Those 3 green fireballs flying in perfect circles couldn't help but remind people of the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, standing guard over mankind, right in the middle of all the chaos. The whole thing only lasted a few minutes, but time seemed to stand still. Every second felt heavy, scary, and holy all at the same time, hard to even put into words. Revelation 8:10-11 talks about burning stars falling, and Daniel 10:13 tells of angels fighting in the sky. Well, now it doesn't feel like just stories anymore. It was right there in front of us, real as day, right over the skies of the strongest country in the world, America, where a lot of folks think everything's just normal. The angels showed up in plain sight. That green light, those 3 guardian fireballs, and the dead silence all around made a sight that was mysterious and mighty all at once. Anyone who saw it knew deep down, this isn't ordinary earthly stuff anymore. Something huge and holy is letting us know it's coming, and it's getting closer every minute. If you're wondering what's next, just keep watching. We've only started seeing these supernatural signs, and there's a lot more mystery still to come. Third sign. A mysterious sea creature washes up on the shore at Cocoa Beach, Florida. On the morning of November 10th, 2025, Cocoa Beach in Florida turned into pure chaos when a gigantic creature floated right onto the sand. It was over 40 feet long, with skin smooth like a whale's, but its jaws were sharp like an alligator's, fins sticking out on both sides like a dragon's, and huge eyes wide open that seemed to stare straight into your soul. The first folks who saw it said a cold shiver ran down their spine, like they were looking at some ancient secret that had just crawled up from the bottom of the ocean. There was no warning, no heads up from the ocean experts, nothing. It just showed up out of nowhere. Scientists were totally stumped at first, but something about its eyes and the way it looked made everybody freeze, like they were face to face with a holy messenger. People crowded around, taking videos and pictures, yet nobody could explain what they were seeing. The sight of this unicorn-like beast brought to mind the Bible verse in Isaiah 27:1. On that day, the Lord with his hard and great and strong sword will punish Leviathan. And Revelation 13 talks about creatures rising from the sea. And now, right in front of everyone, Leviathan was real, alive, majestic, and mysterious. This is the first time in modern history that a creature straight out of legend and scripture has shown up without any human help. The light bouncing off its fins made the whole thing both terrifying and beautiful. A lot of folks truly believe the ocean is finally giving up its last secrets. One by one, people just stood there stunned. Time seemed to stop, and in that moment, a big message felt like it was ringing out loud and clear. The day the Lord comes back is getting closer by the second. The ocean, with all its depth and mystery, suddenly became the place where a heavenly sign showed up, where things we only read about in the Bible are now staring us in the face. Everyone who saw this unicorn creature felt a holy jolt run through them, like a reminder that we're running out of time to get ready. It's a warning and an invitation all at once. Get your heart right, because what mankind has been waiting for has already started to appear. Fourth sign. 2 glowing streaks and a perfect angel ring appear in the sky right outside Austin, Texas. A video shot by a local on the outskirts of Austin, Texas, on the afternoon of the 14th of November 2025, has the whole internet buzzing. The guy filming just froze when he saw 2 bright orange-gold streaks rip open the pale evening sky, like 2 doors swinging wide from another world. The light poured down so strong that everybody squinting had to shade their eyes, hardly believing what was right in front of them. Right next to those streaks, A perfect round ring of cloud showed up, glowing the same orange gold, shining bright in the sunset. It was so round and even that anyone who saw it felt stunned and a little confused. The neighbors all gathered, phones out, filming and snapping pictures, talking a mile a minute, but nobody could explain it. Scientists jumped on the radar, checked pressure, temperature, optics. Everything came up empty. The scene in that video instantly reminds folks of Revelation 4:1. After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven. Those two streaks and the golden ring feel like a direct message. Something big is coming, a wake-up call to pay attention and get ready. You don't need science or fancy explanations. Just looking at it is enough to make your heart pound with wonder and awe. Anybody who ever thought the sky was just empty space has to think again now. This happened right when millions of believers were praying across Texas, a reminder that God is still watching and can step in anytime He wants. Every beam of light, every shape up there felt holy, like it was meant to shake us awake. The clip only lasts a few minutes, but it leaves you floored, amazed, confused, and filled with mystery all at once. This is one of those signs you can't just brush off. If you're watching the video, look close at every detail. Behind those lights, there's a message every one of us needs to hear. Big things are coming into view, and the Lord's return isn't far off. Fifth sign. The heavenly city appears in the clouds over the suburbs of Denver, Colorado. Not long after that, another video, shot by a local in the Denver suburbs at sunset on November 16th, 2025, left thousands of folks stunned. Against the golden sky of late afternoon, two huge cloud islands suddenly showed up, glowing from the inside like a million windows all lit up in some other world. Everything looked so perfect it was hard to believe, like somebody had built a whole city right there in the sky. The bigger cloud formed dozens of straight, neat buildings lined up side by side, domes, towers, skyscrapers. The whole thing looked amazing and downright magical. The orange-gold light spilled down onto the ground, making rooftops and streets sparkle. People gathered outside, phones up in the air recording, but nobody could take their eyes off it. Scientists checked radar data, weather instruments, even sent up drones. Nothing gave them a sensible answer. Standing there felt both awesome and a little scary. The first thing that popped into most people's heads was the promise in Hebrews 12:22. But you have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem. It wasn't just a picture. It felt like a living message, reminding us that holy things are still watching over this world, just waiting to show themselves. Revelation 21:2 kept ringing in people's minds. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God. And now, with our own eyes, we were seeing at least a piece of that holy city, not hidden, not some metaphor, just bright and clear, right there in front of us. Everyone who saw it felt something strangely close, almost personal. That city in the clouds wasn't only beautiful, it carried a strong message. God is doing something, and He's not hiding anymore. Every cloud, every ray of light felt like it was calling us to wake up, telling each of us that time is getting short and everything spoken of long ago is starting to happen. The video ends, but the feeling stays. Amazement, awe, and a deep stirring in the heart. The New Jerusalem came down right before our eyes, reminding us that great things are drawing near, and the Lord's return isn't far off anymore. Sixth sign. Civil wars and chaos breaking out everywhere. The world is sliding into total disorder. Videos and pictures are spreading like wildfire from all over the globe. Mexico is exploding with uprisings. Los Angeles, Chicago, and Portland are burning with riots. And Washington, D.C. just saw hundreds of thousands hit the streets trying to bring the government down. Smoke and fire cover the cities, sirens never stop, and anybody who sees it is just stunned. Over in Europe, Paris and London are shaking from violent protests, while Nepal and Indonesia are going through clashes nobody's seen in recent history. The news is reporting it, Social media is blowing up, but no scientific explanation can keep up with how fast it's spreading or how bad the chaos really is. Everything feels like it's out of human control. When you look at this mess all across the world, the words from Matthew 24:6-7 ring out loud and clear. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. It's not some far-off warning anymore. It's happening right in front of us. This storm of conflict and unrest is the sign pointing to those final hard days. 2 Timothy 3:1-5 keeps on warning us. In the last days, there will be very difficult times. People are selfish, divided, greed is everywhere. Families, communities, whole countries, every kind of order is coming apart. The world feels like it's in those final birth pains, where what used to be normal turns strange, and everything we thought was solid gets shaken. This chaos isn't just news, it's a wake-up call from God. Everyone watching feels something strange in the air, scared, but wide awake at the same time. We're living in the moment when the old prophecies come alive. Not just stories or ideas anymore, but real life happening right now. Humanity is facing its final test, where power, justice, and faith all get weighed on the scales. The smoke, the shouting, the violent protests, they're only the surface of something much bigger that every one of us can feel deep down. This is the time to look straight at the truth. The world isn't ever going back to the way it was. Mankind has entered the final birth pains. There's no more time to hesitate, no place left to hide. Every second that passes brings us closer to what the prophets warned about thousands of years ago. The world is shaking, and our eyes are watching one of the most important chapters in all human history. The final sign, a figure hovering in the sky over Berlin suburbs. Berlin suburbs, November 13th, 2025. A white figure just hanging up there in the sky. No wings, no engine, nothing. Just this slender, majestic shape shooting across the heavens, like the laws of physics took the day off. Folks down below looked up, hearts pounding, eyes wide, feeling that mix of fear and wonder crawling right up their spine. A few minutes later, the exact same thing showed up over the outskirts of Seattle. A pure white form, robes fluttering, streaking through the clouds, leaving a faint trail of light hanging in the gray-blue afternoon sky. Nobody could figure it out. Nobody knew where it was headed. All we knew was our hearts were in our throats, watching something straight out of the supernatural. The light bouncing off that white robe shimmered like silver, making the figure feel close one second and miles away the next. The air itself seemed heavier. Every sound faded away. You just got chills staring at this being floating up there. People swear they could feel some kind of holy energy, like time itself, stepped aside for a moment. Deep down, every witness heard the words from Acts 1:9-11 ringing clear as day. This same Jesus, dressed in white, told them, "He will come back in the same way you have seen him go into heaven." Never before had an old prophecy felt so alive, so close, right there in the sky, right in front of our eyes. No more myths, no more doubts, just a real presence that made everything else feel small. Revelation 1-7 echoed right behind it. "Look, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him." Every second that white figure flashed by and vanished, leaving a misty glow behind. It drove the point home. This isn't random. This is a message straight from above. Scientists stood off in the distance, quiet, looking lost. No explanation on Earth could touch what was happening up there. Every theory just fell flat. All that was left was awe, reverence, and a little holy fear settling in everybody's soul. The angels are doing one last recon before the king returns. They're not hiding anymore. No need for fancy words or long explanations. Just look up, feel it, and breathe through the shivers at something too big to understand. Over the skies of Berlin and Seattle, those white streaks gliding past were a reminder. The moment Jesus comes back is right around the corner. and the world has never seen anything like this before. After a month full of things nobody's ever seen before, from the skies over Phoenix to high clouds above Denver, from the ocean at Cocoa Beach to cities in total chaos, one message has come through loud and clear. Something unbelievable is happening right in front of us. The videos, the pictures, the strange lights, they're not just random anymore. Heaven seems to be opening up, and every sign is shouting that the Lord's return is getting close. That white light over Mesa rose into the sky like a phoenix, flapping its wings and sprinkling sparkling dust from heaven, reminding us that the resurrection and God's power aren't far off. The green light and 3 fireballs over New Mexico danced around like guardian angels, telling us that God's protection and the Trinity are right here in our world. The unicorn-like creature that came out from the water at Cocoa Beach, huge body, silver twisted horn, showed up plain as day, like living proof of the creatures talked about in the Bible. It says the prophecies aren't mysteries anymore. They're coming true. Those 2 orange gold tears in the sky over Austin, plus a cloud ring that looked like a wedding band, showed up on video at sunset, like the gates of heaven cracked open just a little, and a new promise is being signed right in front of everybody. Way up in the clouds outside Denver, a golden city appeared, with dozens of cloud buildings glowing from the inside, like millions of heaven's windows, a sneak peek of the New Jerusalem where God will live among his people. Chaos is spreading everywhere. Civil war talk here in America, violent protests across continents from Mexico to Paris, proving we're in those last birth pains Jesus warned about in Matthew 24 and 2 Timothy 3. People flying through the air in Berlin and Seattle, dressed in white, hovering, then shooting off faster than you can imagine. It looks like the angels are doing one last scout before the king comes back. They're not hiding anymore, and this means Jesus will soon come where every eye can see him. Just like Acts 1:9-11 and Revelation 1-7 say. All of this in just 1 month, most of it right over the United States, the country with more churches than anywhere else on earth. You can't call that a coincidence. This is the final warning and the final invitation from God himself. Heaven is opening right before our eyes, and these strange events are the clear signs that the Lord is drawing closer every single day. Think about it. The phoenix has flapped its wings. Angel lights have shone. A giant sea creature showed its secret. 2 rips opened in the sky. The heavenly city appeared. The world is falling apart. And white figures are floating overhead, all of it like a symphony of warning bells ringing out. Jesus isn't hiding anymore. When we see these things, our hearts can't stay calm. Every sign is soaked in holiness. It wakes up our souls and pulls us back to God. Like Luke 21:28 says, "Stand up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near." Psalm 50-15 calls out, "Call on me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you." And here's the urgent call. If you're still on the fence, go look again at the pictures and videos we've all just seen. Heaven has opened. The holy city has appeared. The phoenix has risen, and the angels are standing right behind the door. This isn't a fairy tale anymore. It's real. Wake up, turn back to God, and open your heart to Jesus. Today there's still time. Tomorrow might be too late. Over the past month, those strange signs in the sky, on the earth, and out in the deep ocean aren't just stories anymore. We've all seen things happen that nobody can explain the usual way, right in front of our own eyes. They're not just pictures. They're strong warnings and reminders. The Lord is getting close. Wake up right now. Don't put it off. Don't wait another minute to get your heart ready. Every second that goes by is another chance to look at yourself, to pray, to put your trust in Him. The Lord is calling each one of us, not with loud noises, but with light, with His presence, with things so amazing our eyes could hardly imagine them. Being awake isn't just talk. It's doing something. Live thankful for every single day He gives you. Spread love to the folks around you, especially to those who don't know the Lord yet. Every prayer, every kind thing you do, every heart that opens wide, that's getting ready for the day He comes back. Look inside your own heart. Are you ready? Are you keeping it clean? No hate, no jealousy, no bitterness hanging around? This isn't the time to drag your feet. This is the moment to grab hold of the light and let your own soul shine in the middle of all this world's darkness. Stop for a minute and pray. Light that fire of faith in your heart and don't let it go out. Look around and see who needs love, who needs help, who needs someone to point the way. Right now is your chance to be the one carrying the light for the world, to be the Lord's hand reaching places He hasn't walked into yet in person. Put all your trust in Him. Even when storms, wars, and chaos are all around, don't be afraid. That trust will be your shield and the light that shows you the path. Every prayer, every good thing you do, shows you've got your heart ready to meet Him. Live thankful every day. Even the ordinary stuff is a miracle because it's all a gift from God. The morning light, the breath in your lungs, the people around you, every bit of it is proof He's watching us and loving us. Let your heart overflow with thanks, and let that thankfulness guide what you do. Spread the good news. Don't keep it to yourself. Share the hope, the light, and the love with others. Every smile, every encouraging word, every kind thing you do is a way we reflect God's love back into this world. Get your heart clean and holy so you're ready when the Lord comes back. Don't let everyday junk crowd your mind. Don't let greed or anger dim the light inside you. Clean house. Get rid of anything that pushes you away from Him, and let love lead everything you do. Think about the signs we just saw. They're not random. They're not meaningless. Every single event carries one clear message. The Lord is near, and He wants us ready. This isn't a warning to scare you. It's a loving reminder. God wants you awake, wants you to see how precious time is, how precious your soul is, how precious every kind thing you do is. He's calling every one of us to come back to Him, to trust Him, to live a life full of love and light. If you're still hesitating, just stop for 1 minute and think about the 7 things we all just watched. The phoenix in the sky over Mesa, those fireballs guarding the sky over New Mexico, the mysterious creature that washed up on Cocoa Beach, 2 strange rips in the sky over Austin, the city of heaven in the clouds above Denver, all the chaos and civil wars breaking out everywhere, people flying without wings in Berlin and Seattle, all of it shouting together that the day the Lord returns isn't far off. Listen to that call inside your heart. Open wide and let the light in. Pray for yourself and pray for others so our hearts stay clean and strong no matter what comes. Be someone who spreads love. Give your life to the things that matter most. Get ready for the day the Lord comes back. Today, right this minute, you can choose something different. You can pray, you can forgive, you can love, and bring hope to the people around you. Don't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late. This is your moment. This is our moment to wake up and live in the light God gave us. Let your heart be full of faith. Let your hands do good things. Pray without stopping. Hold tight to faith. Be thankful every single minute, and get your heart ready for the day the Lord returns. That's the biggest message all these strange things in November 2025 are bringing us. The Lord is near, and He wants us ready. Leave a prayer down in the comments. Share your thoughts, your reflections, your own calls to love. Let's use what we've seen to inspire and lift each other up to live holy lives full of faith and love. And finally, if these pictures, stories, and this message mean something to you, don't forget to hit like, share it, so your friends and family can wake up too. And subscribe to the channel so we can walk this road together, learning and getting ready for the day the Lord comes back.
Wearing armor as well as a pearl diadem. And on the reverse, we have...
On October 12th, under the golden sunshine of the Sea of Galilee, a metal detector suddenly started beeping like crazy at the ancient city of Hippos. Something strange made Edie Lipsman, one of the dig team members, stop dead in her tracks. The archaeologists around her stood there with their mouths open when they saw a flash of metal shining up from the hard dirt right under their feet. Excitement and a little fear mixed together as they realized they'd just found something priceless. One by one, beautiful gold coins started coming out of the ground, like they were telling a story that had been buried for over 1,500 years. Edie couldn't hide how shocked she was. "I couldn't believe it. Gold coins just kept coming up, one after another." It was a Byzantine treasure. 97 pure gold coins. Gold jewelry decorated with pearls, gemstones, and glass, dating from the time of Justin I all the way to Heraclius. Among them was a super rare Tremesis coin from Cyprus, only the second one ever found in Israel, which left the experts even more stunned. All around them, hippos, that old city beside the Sea of Galilee, almost seemed to whisper. Between the treasure and the ruins, one big question came up. Could these gold coins and jewels, hidden away during the chaotic days of the Byzantine Empire, be some kind of reminder about the return of the Lord in our world today? But the story doesn't end here. Every single coin and piece of jewelry still holds secrets that the experts are only just starting to uncover, and you won't want to miss the moment they figure out each strange little detail. Come walk with me a little farther, back into a dig where every stone and every scoop of dirt has a story to tell, leading us to priceless things that Hippos kept secret for more than 1,000 years. Hippos, an ancient city tucked along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, was once a shining bishop's seat in Byzantine days and watched centuries roll by. For 26 years, the University of Haifa team has been digging here, checking every brick and every layer of soil with care. But they had never seen a treasure like this one. According to the university's October announcement, the whole archaeology world sat up in shock. A priceless find had just come out of the ground at Hippos. One October morning, with the sun just touching the central square, Edie Lipsman's metal detector started going wild. She bent down between two old walls, and gold coins began to appear, glinting and dancing in her hands. "I couldn't believe it. Gold coins kept coming up, one after another," Edie said, her voice full of wonder and joy. Can you picture that feeling? Like you're reaching out and touching the past, where every coin was part of a long-ago world. The experts gathered around, eyes shining with excitement you couldn't hide. Michael Eisenberg, the head of the dig, called it the biggest Byzantine hoard ever found on dry land in Israel. 97 pure gold coins, solidi, half solidi, and thirds, plus dozens of pieces of gold jewelry set with pearls, gemstones, and glass, all lying quiet under hard-packed earth. Bits of an old cloth bag still there hinted that someone had carefully hidden the treasure, probably to keep it safe in troubled times. Among the coins, a rare Tremesis from Cyprus left the archaeologists speechless. It's only the second one ever found in Israel, from the last years of Emperor Heraclius, tied to the revolt against Phocis. Little details like that don't just show how valuable it is, they open a window on the stormy politics and life of the Byzantine world. Don't you feel like you're slipping back in time? It's as if the treasure itself is talking to us. It wasn't only the coins. The gold jewelry inlaid with pearls, semi-precious stones, and glass shows the amazing skill of Byzantine craftsmen. Arleta Kowalewska, a restorer, said, "The work is so fine a modern jeweler would be jealous." Eisenberg added, "The gold looks brand new after 1,400 years. Precious metal does that. But it also reminds us how some things last forever." Here's what's really interesting. This find doesn't stand alone. Just 320 feet from the main square, back in August, the team uncovered the oldest known old-age home in the world, more than 1,600 years old, with a mosaic that says in Koine Greek, "Peace to the elders." Every little piece of that mosaic speaks of care and love for older folks, values the Byzantine community held dear. Both the hoard and the old-age home are being dug with careful science and modern tools to keep everything safe. Each discovery peels back another layer of history while quietly reminding us of Bible prophecies. Like Matthew 24, verses 3 through 14, talking about signs in the heavens and on earth before the Lord returns. You can almost feel a strange connection between those troubled Byzantine days and our world right now. When we look at this treasure, we don't just see gold and jewels. We see a living reminder of things that last, things too precious to stay buried forever. Do you feel the echo between this hidden hoard and the warnings about the last days in Scripture? Every coin, every piece of jewelry seems to whisper, telling us to stay awake and remember what really matters in life. I'd love for you to come a little deeper into the story with me. We'll watch every step of the dig, share the moment the experts stood stunned at what they found. And you'll see that Hippos isn't just another archaeological site. It's a message from long ago, buried for centuries, waiting for us to hear it. But the story doesn't end the moment the gold and jewelry peek out from the hard ground. Every coin, every piece of jewelry still holds deeper secrets about the people who buried them, about the chaotic days of the Byzantine Empire, and about spiritual messages that never grow old. Come with me into the next part, where we'll look closely at each item, uncover what it meant back then, and listen to the mysterious stories they've kept quiet for over 1,500 years. As soon as we really look at the treasure, every little detail starts telling its own story. Those gold coins aren't just pretty metal. They're witnesses to the wild Byzantine times more than 1,500 years ago. Do you see it too? Every solidus, every half or third piece, carries the mark and the power of the emperors who ruled back then. Among them is a rare tremis from Cyprus that left the experts speechless. According to the University of Haifa's statement, this coin was struck in Cyprus in late 6th to 10 by Heraclius' father and son, Dazard. It's only the second one ever found in Israel, tied to the revolt against Phocis, a clear sign of those restless days when politics, war, and everyday life all got tangled up. When I look at it, I feel like I'm watching a real historical drama. Do you feel that excitement too? But the treasure isn't only gold coins. There are dozens of gold jewelry pieces set with pearls, semi-precious stones, and glass that make anyone who holds them say, "Wow." Arleta Kowalewska, the conservation expert, said, "The craftsmanship is so fine, even a modern jeweler would be impressed." Eisenberg added, "The gold still looks brand new after 1,400 years because it's pure, precious metal. Each piece doesn't just show wealth, it tells us about Byzantine culture, art, and the people who made them." When you put the coins and jewelry together, a bigger picture starts to appear. Bits of cloth still stuck to some pieces suggest the owner buried the treasure in a big hurry, probably to keep it safe from looters during troubled times. That reminds us of the words in Matthew 6:19 to 21. "Don't store up treasures here on earth, where moths eat them and rust destroys them, and where thieves break in and steal." Don't you feel this treasure is more than just things? It's a spiritual reminder too. The mosaic that says, "Peace on the elders," from the world's oldest nursing home, just a couple hundred feet away, carries a deep message as well. It reminds us to love and care for the weak and the old, just like James 1:27 says. Pure and genuine religion in the sight of God the Father means caring for orphans and widows in their distress. Even Psalm 71 praises God's protection for the weak. These values never go out of date. Taken all together, the treasure and the nursing home feel like they're whispering to us about things that last forever. After centuries, the precious materials still shine, pointing to the everlasting quality of God's Word. I invite you to look closely at every coin, every gem, and see the timeless message sitting right in front of us. And have you wondered why these valuable things were buried during chaos? Maybe it's a reminder for our own time to hold tight to spiritual values, stay awake in a troubled world, and notice the signs God is giving us. Just like Matthew 24:3 through 14 talks about the signs in the heavens and on earth before He comes back. We're not just watching, we're walking alongside the past. I feel like I've stepped into a real journey where every layer of dirt, every stone, every bit of metal tells its own story. Do you feel that thrill and mystery too? Every discovery is a clue that leads us deeper into understanding people, history, and spiritual truth. Imagine this treasure once belonged to a Byzantine nobleman or priest. The coins and jewelry weren't just money. They were signs of power, faith, and getting ready for hard times ahead. When I look at them, I'm reminded of Revelation 3:17-18. You say, I am rich and need nothing, not realizing you are wretched and miserable and poor. I advise you to buy gold refined in the fire. Do you feel that connection too? The excavation site, the stones, every artifact, all of them remind us how temporary material things are and how eternal spiritual things are. Every detail has both archaeological value and a spiritual message, linking us to the past and to prophecy. Like 2 Timothy 3:1-5 warns about hard times when people love money more than God. Every rare tremesis, every beautifully worked pearl, keeps telling us the real treasure isn't gold and silver. It's knowledge, faith, and staying alert. You and I, as we go on this journey, are learning to hear the message that has traveled thousands of years to reach us. And when you step back and look at the whole treasure, you see a complete story, wealth hidden in chaos, exquisite art that still shines, and every tiny detail reminding us of eternity, kindness, and spiritual readiness. We're standing in front of witnesses to both history and faith, inviting us to listen, think, and stay awake. This journey of discovery has only just started, and we're about to move into the really exciting next part, digging even deeper into the spiritual meaning, connecting it to the signs of Christ's return, and seeing how the past mirrors the challenges and opportunities in our world today. Do you want to keep exploring? The facts from this dig go way beyond just archaeological value. When the experts lined up the dates, the location, and what they actually found, a whole string of connections to Bible prophecies started jumping out clear as day. And if you've watched this far, I bet you feel it too. Everything's lining up too perfectly to just call it coincidence. First off, the exact time period when those gold coins were minted, wars, power shifts, society falling apart, matches Matthew 24 to 6-7 inches, a way that gives you chills. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Nation will rise against nation. Look around the world right now. It's not theory anymore. And the fact that a treasure from that very same chaotic era pops up right when today feels like it's coming unglued, well, it's got a lot of religious scholars asking, is this a wake-up call right on time? Hippos sits right next to the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus taught and did some of his biggest miracles. That alone makes you think of Matthew 5:14, a city set on a hill. And plenty of researchers see this gold turning up there as a symbol. Stuff that was hidden for centuries is coming back into the light exactly when we need it most. I'm not going to stand here and say it's 100% certain, but man, it's hard not to wonder when the pieces fit this well. What do you think? Another thing you can't ignore? The mix of Byzantine emperors' coins with fancy jewelry shows the owner buried it in a big hurry during some serious trouble. That lines up strong with the warning in 2 Timothy 3:1-5 about the last days. People loving money, arrogant, boastful, all of it. Treasure hidden away and forgotten for over 1,400 years. It's a pretty vivid picture of what the Bible calls the fleeting nature of earthly riches. But the part that really gets theologians talking is how the gold looks almost brand new. No tarnish at all, after more than 1,000 years. That brings to mind Revelation 3:18 straight away. I counsel you to buy from me gold refined in the fire. Gold that doesn't corrode has always stood for the things of God, lasting, unchanging, while everything else around us feels like it's coming apart at the seams. You and I can see that contrast plain as day in the news lately. On top of that, there's one detail most folks miss. Archaeology, especially in Israel, has been exploding lately, and that fits Daniel 12:4 to a T. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. Old secrets are being uncovered faster than ever before, and a lot of believers See that as part of the final timeline Scripture talked about long ago. Nobody's saying for absolute sure this discovery is a direct sign of the Lord's return, but it sure checks an awful lot of boxes the Bible laid out. And I figure, at a time when the world feels like it's spinning out of control, things like this aren't meant to be brushed off. They're reminders, warnings, or at the very least a nudge to take a good hard look at where each of us stands with our faith. If you step back and look, every single detail, the place, the date, the condition of the treasure, the exact moment it shows up, fits like a puzzle piece into a much bigger picture. And Scripture is crystal clear on this one. In 1 Thessalonians 5:2, the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. No warning, no alarm. Only the ones who stay awake will catch the signals before it's too late. Looking at every piece in this treasure, you don't just see the value of the gold. You see whole stories from history that got buried and forgotten long ago. Every gold coin, every piece of jewelry tells about political upheaval, emperors, and secrets nobody remembered. So come with me now. Let's step back in time and uncover the stories hiding inside each of these things. The moment you take your first steps on the ruins of Hippos, you can almost feel the old life buzzing again. This used to be one of the busy Decapolis cities, an important Byzantine Christian center right near the Sea of Galilee. Over 1,500 years ago, this place was alive with church bells calling people to prayer, merchants walking around with bags of gold and rare goods, and heated arguments about power between bishops and rich traders. Hippos wasn't just any town, it was a religious hub where politics and faith mixed together, and its wealth made it a prize everybody fought over when things got bad. And that's exactly when our treasure's story begins. At the worst possible moment, in 610, a rebellion broke out against Emperor Phocas. Can you picture it? The whole Byzantine Empire shaking, armies marching down the roads, cities in chaos with news of war and looting. Right then, the owner of this treasure, maybe a wealthy official, a powerful churchman, or a respected merchant, had to make a life or death choice. Bury everything precious. Those little Tremesses coins from Cyprus, the solidi struck under Justin I or Heraclius, weren't just money. They were signs of the times, proof of fear, and quick decisions made in wartime. Made by a Byzantine goldsmith, the jewelry with pearls, semi-precious stones, and glass isn't just pretty decoration. Expert Arleta Kovalevska once said, "The craftsmanship is so fine that even modern jewelers would struggle to copy it." Think about that. These pieces were thrown into the ground in a hurry, yet they still shine like new. And scraps of old cloth show the treasure was buried in just a few frantic minutes before the city fell apart. Then, in 636, power changed hands again, and the treasure disappeared for good. The Byzantines lost the area to the spreading Muslim armies. Those rare Tremesses coins, the gleaming solidi, the jewels, all lay quiet under the dirt, covered by time and dust, while Hippos slowly turned into ruins and only the waves of the Sea of Galilee kept slapping the shore. That's why this treasure feels more alive than anything in a museum. It's real proof of panic, fear, and the hope that somebody might come back someday. It's not just Hippos either. Look at other Byzantine hoards found in Israel, like in Jerusalem, and you see the bigger picture of collapse and upheaval. Treasures buried during war, like this one, show how people tried to stay safe when everything was falling apart. Like the book of Ecclesiastes says, everything in this world, wealth, power, finally just passes away. Every coin, every gem, every bit of rotted cloth doesn't just tell history, it reminds us what really matters in life. Every little tremor from Cyprus feels like a message from the past saying, wealth and power always come with danger. And we, modern folks looking at it today, are invited to understand. This isn't only a pile of gold, it's a treasure of human stories from a time of chaos. And through all these stories runs the one reminder from the Lord in Matthew 6:19 through 21. Don't store up treasures here on earth, where moths eat them and rust destroys them, and where thieves break in and steal. Store your treasures in heaven. A gentle but strong spiritual note among all the gold and fighting, like a quiet mark on a stormy page of history. I truly believe that when we look at this treasure, we feel the link between past and present, between panicked choices made in crisis and the lasting values people have always longed for. From the old stories behind the Byzantine treasure, we're starting to see that these artifacts aren't just pieces of the past. They mirror the same struggles and upheavals that once tore through Hippos. Now, when we look at today's world, with all its political fights and endless conflicts, we can connect the past to the present and think a little deeper about the signs God has left for us. The gold and jewelry dug up near the Sea of Galilee aren't just archaeological finds anymore. They feel like a bell ringing loud in the middle of today's political earthquake. With the Israel-Palestine fighting getting worse, this buried treasure comes up like a scary reminder. History can repeat itself, and we might be watching the very signs the past warned us about. Things are really tense on the ground in Israel right now. From what different news sources say, Israel's big military operation in the West Bank, they call it Iron Wall, is still going strong, targeting armed groups in refugee camps like Jenin. At the same time, they're shooting not just between Israel and Palestinian fighters, but even among Palestinians themselves, like the clashes between Hamas and the Dogmush clan, and it keeps pouring gas on the fire. These tensions feel familiar when we think back to the time of that Byzantine horde. Chaos everywhere, power on shaky ground, people burying their gold because they were afraid of losing everything. Today, with bombs falling and politics boiling, that old fear hits even harder. Israel itself is under heavy pressure from other countries to change its Middle East policy. A lot of Western nations keep pushing for a two-state solution for the Palestinians. It's not just regular war anymore. It's wrapped up in deep diplomacy too. Some reports say Israel is calling up more reserve troops and getting ready for long campaigns, while Arab countries and the rest of the world beg everyone to pull back and start real peace talks. All of it brings back pictures of an old cycle, power plays, schemes, but also the hope of rebuilding peace and a new order. That's why the Byzantine treasure found at Hippos feels so symbolic now. It's hard proof of a chaotic past, but it's also a loud wake-up call for today. When you look at those shiny Tremissus and Salidi coins, it's almost like they're whispering how fragile power is, how quickly riches can vanish, and how people face hard times. On the cultural side, digging up this treasure has sparked fresh interest in spiritual values and heritage. The Byzantine craftsmen who made such beautiful jewelry are being admired all over again, and that's inspiring today's artists and anyone who loves the past enough to build a wiser future. The old Christian spirit of caring for others comes through in this story too. In a modern world dealing with pandemics, aging populations, and all kinds of social crises, the message from long ago about looking after the weak hits home stronger than ever. Hippos teaches us a big lesson. Faith and kindness aren't just religious ideas. They're what hold a community together for the long haul. Spiritually, this hoard feels like a wake-up call for our material age. Jesus' words in Matthew 6:19-21 seem to echo right through the smoke of today's battles. Don't store up treasures here on earth. While everyone's chasing power and money, the Hippos treasure reminds us that real value isn't in things that can be taken away. It's in what lasts through every storm. On top of that, all the new archaeological digs in Israel, big finds like the Dead Sea Scrolls or ancient ruins, almost look like that increase of knowledge the Bible talked about. In today's spinning world, opening up the past might be part of a bigger message about judgment and renewal coming. Each of us can take something personal from this treasure. It's more than an archaeological discovery. It's a call. Stay awake, live your faith, get your heart ready. In a world full of conflict, uncertainty, and shaky power, we're reminded that the return, not just of buried gold, but maybe of the Lord Himself, could happen anytime. If we really listen, these gold coins and bits of jewelry aren't just old objects. They're a warning, a hope, and a mirror. They tell us that no matter how crazy the world gets, the lasting worth of faith and love is the rock nothing can shake. The Byzantine treasure from Hippos gives us a clear picture of the past, a time when people buried gold and jewelry right in the middle of chaos. Those solidi and tremesis coins aren't just precious metal. They're witnesses to a scary, unsettled time when folks were afraid of war and political trouble. When you look at each coin, each little piece of gold with pearls set in it, you almost hear the past whispering to us, reminding us that power, money, and even safety don't last forever. This hoard, forgotten for over 1,000 years, has come back to light like a wake-up call. We need to stay alert to what really matters. You can't separate the objects from what was going on back then. Hippos used to be a busy Christian city in the Byzantine Empire with a bishop in charge and plenty of trade. When the empire started shaking, from the revolt against Phocas and the Persian Wars, someone hurriedly buried the treasure to keep it safe in all the mess. It makes you think how history keeps repeating itself. Fights, power grabs, and greed are still part of human life. When we look at what's happening today around the Sea of Galilee and Israel, we see the same old story playing out. Political arguments, ethnic conflicts, tense relations between countries, just like a mirror of those Byzantine days. But the treasure isn't only about history. It carries a spiritual message too. Like Jesus says in Matthew 6:19-1, "Don't store up treasures here on earth, where moths eat them and rust destroys them, and where thieves break in and steal. Store your treasures in heaven." Every gold coin and piece of jewelry is still perfect after all these centuries, reminding us that real value goes way beyond money or earthly power. Seeing this invites us to think about our faith and what we're really putting our hope in. The discovery at Hippos also shows how God uses the past to wake up faith today. Through archaeology, through these recovered coins and jewels, He reminds us to be ready for the day of the Lord. 2 Peter 3:10. When everything hidden will come out in the open. It's not meant to scare us. It's an invitation. Live right, stay watchful, and let your heart be guided by things that last forever instead of things that fade away. This treasure, mixing the material and the spiritual, is living proof that God still quietly leads us through signs we sometimes miss. In today's world, with wars, natural disasters, and political upheaval from the Middle East to everywhere else, the find at Hippos feels like a gentle warning. Time is short. We don't know the day or the hour Jesus will return, but we know He's calling every one of us to live awake, to love others, and to be ready to share our faith. That's why this isn't just an archaeological treasure. It's a living message. When we look closely at every detail, every trace left from long ago, we can almost feel something holy, getting us ready for the future God has promised. We see another message too. God's word lasts through every storm. Byzantine gold and jewelry, still shining bright after 1,400 years, proves that what's truly valuable never fades, even when everything around it changes. That's why we need to look at this treasure with spiritual eyes, not just regular ones. It reminds us that even when life feels chaotic and uncertain, we can still hold on to faith, live with love, and keep our hearts ready. Looking back from the excavation to understanding it today, the message is crystal clear. The Hippos treasure powerfully ties together history, archaeology, and faith. It tells us the signs God left in the past are still guiding us now, and it's our job not to ignore them. In a time when money, power, and conflict seem to run everything, this treasure is living proof of the value of faith, kindness, and spiritual readiness. So the call is for you, for me, for all of us. Stay awake, pray, live a clean life, share your faith with the people around you. When we realize time is getting short, every action, every choice, every prayer really matters. Jesus coming back isn't some far-off idea. It's our chance to live worthy of what we believe and to be living witnesses of His love and righteousness. And finally, let the Hippos treasure remind you that Christ's return will bring perfect, everlasting peace. It's nothing to be afraid of, It's complete hope, the finishing of every good thing God has planted. As you look at the past, feel the present, and turn toward the future, remember that faith never loses its worth, and this message from Hippos is living proof of that. If you found this journey interesting and meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe so we can keep exploring the mysteries of history, faith, and the signs of our times together. We'll keep walking this road side by side, looking back at the past, shining light on today, and getting ready for tomorrow, when hope and eternal peace are waiting for every one of us.
Sharon has more on this historic discovery.
Ancient steps have been unveiled at the renowned ancient pool of Siloam in Jerusalem.
Version of the pool of Siloam according to tradition.
And mortar samples from the 3 places and took straw out of them.
Look how much they excavated it. I think we can go. No way, is it open?
As soon as the last bit of dirt was pushed aside, the archaeologists just froze. Right there in the city of David, only steps away from the pool of Siloam, where Jesus made a blind man see again, John 9:10-11, a huge ancient dam suddenly showed up, a structure nobody thought was still around. But what really gave everyone chills wasn't how big it was when it was built. Jerusalem, the city mentioned more than 800 times in the Bible, feels like it's waking up. Every new find here doesn't feel like just archaeology anymore. It feels like someone's turning on a string of lights, one after another, right on cue. When you put this discovery next to what Jesus talked about in Matthew 24:3-14, wars, upheaval, Israel rising again, it makes you stop and wonder, is this another sign the prophets told us to watch for? In a world full of fighting and crazy weather, an ancient dam coming out of the ground right now, right here in Jerusalem, doesn't sound like just another dig. It sounds like a quiet warning, but one you can't brush off. And maybe the most important part isn't what we're seeing today, it's what this is getting ready to lead to next. So keep your eyes open, because the deeper we go, the clearer it gets why this one has both archaeologists and Bible scholars shaking their heads in amazement. Come watch this video with me all the way to the end. Right now, let's start with the first piece of the puzzle, the surprising archaeological journey at the Pool of Siloam. The story of the Pool of Siloam, sometimes called Siloam, isn't a simple one. It really got going back in the late 1800s, when explorers like Charles Warren and Edward Robinson first found Hezekiah's tunnel that carried water from the Gihon Spring down to the city of David. For a long time, folks thought a pool built about 300 years after Jesus, the Byzantine pool, was the real Siloam. Turns out, they were wrong. We had to wait until 2004 for archaeologists Ronnie Reich and Eli Shukran to uncover the actual pool from the Second Temple period, 1st century AD, while they were digging a sewer line near the city of David. Picture this: thousands of years of dirt suddenly giving way to stone steps, water channels, and right away the Bible comes alive. Like it says in John 9:11, the blind man who could suddenly see said, "The man they call Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. He told me to go wash in the pool of Siloam. So I went and washed, and then I could see." This very place where Jesus did miracles is now pulling us back into ancient history. The digging didn't stop there. In 2023, archaeologists from the Israel Antiquities Authority and the City of David Foundation uncovered the whole pool, about half an acre, with its stone steps and fancy water system. Then in 2025, something even bigger turned up. An ancient dam wall near the pool, found while expanding the Jerusalem Walls National Park. The IAA put out a statement on August 30th, 2025, saying this came from joint research with the Weizmann Institute of Science and was published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences on August 25th, 2025. What gives me and you chills is how they dated that dam. They used carbon-14 on branches and twigs stuck in the mortar and found it's over 2,700 years old. While digging, they combined geology, ancient climate studies, and even 3D laser scans to bring out every little detail. Just imagine stone blocks 39 feet high, 69 feet long, 26 feet wide, the biggest structure from the Iron Age ever found in Israel, still sitting underground like it was waiting for us. This dig has been an international effort, with experts from America, Israel, and Europe all working together. Zeev Orenstein from the City of David Foundation said they had to remove dirt piled up since Herodian times to reveal the original pool. It's not just hard physical work, it's a journey unlocking the past. In a city like Jerusalem that's mentioned over 800 times in the Bible, every dig faces political and religious challenges, but that only makes the evidence for the truth of God's word feel more real and close, and it leaves us amazed and moved. The Pool of Siloam isn't just an old water project. It's where Jewish people came to wash before going up to the temple, a sacred ritual tied to their faith. Standing on those stone steps, you and I can almost hear the echo of John chapter 9, reminding us of the light Jesus gave the blind man. You might not have realized it, but this discovery also uncovers a chain of signs. The ancient water system, the dam, the pool, all proof of how clever people were back then, and a reminder of the prophecies about Jerusalem, where the Lord will return. Exploring the Pool of Siloam is like traveling through time, from the first temple to the second temple, from purification rituals to Jesus' miracles. Every layer of dirt tells its own story. Ancient coins, paved roads, even bits of broken mortar speak of a living history. It feels like every step on those stairs takes us into both science and faith at the same time. History isn't just the past anymore. It's a wake-up call for today. In a world full of climate change and conflict, the Pool of Siloam and its ancient dam seem to whisper, "Look, understand, and get ready." It's a strange, beautiful connection between yesterday, today, and what's still coming. And it makes you wonder, what's next? From a place everyone thought was long forgotten, the Pool of Siloam has become a living symbol of how science and faith meet. Thousands of visitors come every year to see it and feel the holiness of where Jesus performed miracles. So I have to ask you, if you had the chance to stand in the middle of history and touch secrets over 2,700 years old, would you pass it up? You'd think finding the Pool of Siloam was the end of the story, but under that quiet water, there are still messages waiting that keep the experts scratching their heads. Every step, every stone down there feels like it's holding a story God wants us to hear. If we can figure them out, you and I don't just see history, we feel a living, breathing, holy place. So come on, let's go look at what's hidden under the Pool of Siloam and ask ourselves, what is the Lord trying to tell us? When we walk down into the Pool of Siloam, it's not just the water in front of us, it's a treasure chest of history waiting to be opened. The pool was built back in the days of King Hezekiah, around the 8th century BC. It was the endpoint of a water tunnel that brought water from the Gihon spring into the city, so the Assyrians couldn't cut it off. 2 Kings 20:20, says Hezekiah, made the pool and the tunnel to bring water into the bedbus. Can you feel how clever those old-timers were? Every stone and every step tells the story of people trying to stay alive in a dry, tough land. Finding the dam in 2025 was a real game changer. They figured it was built between 805 and 795 BC, probably when Joash or Amaziah was king, to catch rainwater and flash floods from the valley. Scientists used carbon-14 on burnt and unburnt branches and straw and pinned the age down to within just 10 years, something you hardly ever see in archaeology. Can you picture a stone wall about 39 feet high, 69 feet long, and 26 feet thick still standing strong after more than 2,700 years? It's not just engineering, it's proof of brains and faith. The pool and the dam aren't just piles of rock. They show how the ancient Jews learned to live in a desert that was getting drier. Studies of mud layers in the Dead Sea showed droughts came in cycles, a lot like the climate trouble we have today. A 2025 paper in PNAS says a thing called the Homeric Grand Solar Minimum messed up the weather back then, and that dam was their smart answer, like they already knew how to handle disasters. Do you see the neat connection to John chapter 9, where Jesus heals the blind man and the water stands for opening spiritual eyes? Besides the dam, other finds around the pool leave you amazed. The pilgrimage road that runs from the pool up to the temple, uncovered in 2023, gives a real picture of everyday worship. An ancient garden at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre turned up in 2025, and a coin minted right before the Second Temple was destroyed in 70 AD matches exactly what Jesus said in Matthew 24, 1-2. Not one stone will be left on another. Every little thing is a puzzle piece, pulling us closer to the time when Jesus walked here. Modern tools help us read the message. A 2-3D laser scans, plant DNA testing. They strip away the dirt from Herodian times and bring a 2,700-year-old pool back into the light. But the best part is this. When you look at that water, you see a living picture. Water doesn't just keep the body alive, it opens the eyes of the heart. Just like Jesus told the blind man, "Go wash in the pool of Siloam," John 9-7, we're reminded that real life, real sight, and faith all come through in hard times. What's really special is that everything they've found ties right back to the First Temple period, when the weather was harsh and enemies were always close. The pool and the dam didn't just store water, they're proof of skill and trust in God. When you look at the pool, you can almost see those ancient Jews gathering, praying, getting ready to go up to the temple, worried about daily life but still holding on to faith. Little clues, a coin, a step, a stone, all carry a message. They remind us that nature, history, and faith always go together. Have you ever wondered if the signs God left aren't only in the Bible, but right out here in the world around us? The dam, the pool, the road, they're all saying, "Wake up, look, and see that the Lord is near." In the end, figuring out the pool of Siloam isn't just archaeology. It's a journey that ties us to faith, to God, to messages that are still alive after thousands of years. Every new find makes me ask, what is the Lord saying to you and me today? Every step, every drop of water feels like a gentle call, reminding us that history isn't just the past. It's a bridge to the present and to the holy future ahead. Every brick, every step, every stone in the pool of Siloam is soaked with a message that the Lord wants to give us. Only folks who are truly awake will notice those signs, and I believe you're one of them. Right now, we're going to look together at prophecies that were spoken thousands of years ago about this discovery, and see how they point straight to a huge event that's coming soon, the return of the Lord. The Pool of Siloam isn't just an old water system. It's living proof of God's power. In John chapter 9, verses 1-11, Jesus healed a man who was born blind. He told him, "Go wash in the pool of Siloam." And the moment the man did, he could see. That wasn't only a miracle for his eyes, it was light for his soul too, opening the door to salvation for anyone who's paying attention. Water in the Bible often stands for the Holy Spirit. In John 7, verses 38 and 39, Jesus said, "Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them." The pool of Siloam, with every stone and every step, is a place where that power showed up, a sign God left behind to remind us He's still right here in Jerusalem, still right here with us. Finding the dam in 2025, along with the whole pool, feels like one of the signs of the last days that Jesus talked about in Matthew 24, verses 3-14. Wars, natural disasters, and Israel rising again. Every layer of stone, every ancient step is quietly saying, the time of His return is getting close. Zechariah 14, verses 1-9, prophesied that Jerusalem would be the center of the final events, and now these archaeological finds are proving it. Isaiah 2, verses 2-4, says Jerusalem will be lifted up, and the nations will come there to learn God's ways. Those old steps in the pool are like a living picture of that promise, reminding us that history and heaven are meeting. Revelation 22, verse 1, talks about the river of the water of life, flowing from God's throne. And this ancient water system feels like a mysterious reflection of that river.